5G has the capability to transform our lives. Like 4G, which brought us social media, e-commerce, gaming, streaming services, and e-learning, 5G is poised to create trillion-dollar industries and unlock unprecedented opportunities. This next-generation network promises to be a game-changer, revolutionizing industries such as healthcare, business, manufacturing, and smart infrastructure, and potentially being a catalyst for economic growth and improving income levels. But for Malaysia, the path to 5G isn't just about technology. It's also about navigating complex policies and market dynamics. The story of Malaysia's 5G rollout began in 2021, when the government established Digital Nasional Berhad, or DNB. Tasked with leading the rollout, DNB was created as a single wholesale network, or SWN. But what exactly does that mean? In an SWN model, DNB, with the help of Ericsson, will build and own the nation's 5G infrastructure, and then sell access to this network to telecommunication companies, who will then compete to offer 5G services to consumers. This model aims to reduce costs, ensure widespread coverage by avoiding redundant infrastructure development, and create a level playing field for all telcos. However, the establishment of an SWN also raised concerns about creating a monopoly. Critics worried that having one company control the entire 5G infrastructure could stifle competition, limit innovation, and give DNB and Ericsson too much power over the market. In 2022, as a response, the government decided to divest 70% of its shares in DNB to telco companies under a shared subscription agreement. This move made the telcos both shareholders and customers, which raised concerns about potential conflicts of interest. In 2023, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim announced a review of DNB's 5G rollout strategy. The government proposed introducing a second 5G network, transitioning from an SWN model to a dual network model run by telecommunication companies selected through a bidding process. The goal was to break DNB's monopoly and foster competition for better prices and better services.
We want to have healthy competition. When there's healthy competition in the market, it's the end users that will benefit, it's the rakyat that will benefit.
The government also hinted at a strategic partnership with Huawei from China for the second network, aiming to balance geopolitical relationships with the West's Ericsson.
And I believe rightly that once we get the best from the West, we also should benefit the best from the East.
Despite concerns about monopolistic practices, DNB seems to have delivered on its targets. Malaysia now has the fastest 5G speed in Southeast Asia and has achieved 80% coverage in just 2 years. This success raises a critical question. Is a second network necessary to achieve better services? More importantly, how can we make sure it complies with the law? The introduction of a second network could potentially violate Section 133 of the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998, which prohibits actions that diminish competition. Currently, the government owns 30% of DNB, with the rest held by telcos. These telcos have seats on DNB's board, positioning them as both shareholders and customers. This dual role raises conflict of interest concerns, especially when it comes to the government's decision on which telco to award the second network.
Bukankah sekiranya pesaing-pesaing ini ada dalam DNB sekarang? Mereka jadi ahli lembaga pengarah, mereka jadi pemegang saham. Bukankah itu akan memberikan unfair advantage kepada mereka untuk mengetahui banyak perkara dalam DNB sekarang? Kemudian mereka akan keluar dan jadi pesaing kepada DNB, dan ini akan menyebabkan DNB sendiri ada unfair disadvantage.
There are also concerns that the second network would play by different rules. Under the SWN model, DNB must go through telcos before reaching consumers. In contrast, a second network owned by a private telco could sell directly to consumers.
Two networks with the same rule, then it's a competition. Two networks with different rules are not competition. Well, you cannot have a piece of cake and eat it, to proceed with a second operator with different rules. That is not right. So I think whatever is not right, we have to say it's not right.
Experts have called for a re-evaluation of the move to dismantle DNB's monopoly.
Of course, a strategic pause will allow time to reassess the financial implications and also to ensure the cost effective of the deployment. And definitely it also ensures that infrastructure investments are aligned with, of course, national interest and economic stability. It also facilitates better coordination between different stakeholders, including government, network providers, consumer groups, and ensuring that the rollout meets the needs of all consumers equitably.
Now that things are turning out well for DNB and they're performing with high speeds and coverage, maybe it's time to reconsider sticking to the initial plan of the SWN model. To understand why some are advocating for a single network, let's take a look at how the telco industry worked in the past. Imagine the industry only needs 4 towers. No more, no less. Say each tower costs 1 ringgit. However, in the 4G model, each telco builds 4 towers because they're competing. This results in duplication, meaning you'd end up with 16 towers in total, costing the entire industry 16 ringgit. Now in the 5G model, since the industry only needs 4 towers, DNB would build those 4 towers at a cost of 4 ringgit. Then, they'd rent out 5G services to the telcos for 2 ringgit each. So, DNB would make 8 ringgit. Taking away the costs for building the towers, we're left with an extra 4 ringgit, which could be reinvested in improving infrastructure, especially in rural areas. Now, consider the impact on consumers. In the 4G scenario, each individual telco would spend 4 ringgit on towers. Say, to make a 2 ringgit profit, they'd have to charge consumers 6 ringgit. But with the 5G model, telcos only need to rent the service from DNB for 2 ringgit. If they still want to make that 2 ringgit profit, they'd only need to charge consumers 4 ringgit. So you can see that in the 4G model, consumers get charged 6 ringgit. While in the 5G model, they get charged 4 ringgit. It's clear that with 5G, consumers end up paying less. While DNB's success demonstrates the potential benefits of a unified network, the call for competition highlights the desire for innovation and consumer choice. The challenge lies in balancing these priorities to ensure the best outcome for Malaysians. The ideal situation might involve maintaining the SWN model's efficiency while introducing measures to enhance transparency and governance. This could involve having an independent body run DNB's operations without telcos having a share to ensure neutrality and a level playing field.
If DNB want to stay as is, then there should not be any second operator, just one operator. The service provider, the MNOs, should not be the shareholders of DNB. DNB should stand alone, to be neutral.
To recap, the 5G rollout in Malaysia, led by DNB, aimed to provide widespread coverage and lower costs through a single wholesale network model. However, the government's plan to introduce a second network raises questions about competition, conflicts of interest, and legal compliance. 5G's potential to transform our lives and society is immense, making it crucial to get this rollout right. As Malaysia navigates the complexities of this digital leap, striking the right balance between innovation, competition, and equitable access will be key. Ensuring a clear, systematic deployment and fostering robust use cases will be essential to unlocking 5G's full potential for everyone. The right approach will not only drive economic growth, but also ensure that all Malaysians reap the benefits of this transformative technology. Danish Rajareza, FMT Business.